Listen, there's supposed to be a prestige when it comes to the Oscars. There's a reason why all of the other award shows put thousands, if not millions, into their ceremonies, only to be titled The Road to the Oscars. But what's funny is that at least the other shows ain't scared to host a host. Half of the time, I know that the foolishness dealing with the nominations is because of statistics. Mostly, though, it is, campaigning buffoonery. We made an entire video covering that and Netflix pillows. And that sucks because the Oscars are supposed to mean something. Love them or hate them, if the voting academy was actually watching the movies, we'd be highlighting the Super Bowl of cinema, honoring the best of the best. It should boost the winner's career for being the best in their field and shine a light on projects that otherwise may not have been seen, but got the attention thanks to the Academy of Motion Pictures. Instead, they put Cats on the VFX shortlist. This is before Universal admitted that they weren't even done editing the effects come the premiere of the film and had to release another version after people had already paid for it. The Academy put them on their shortlist a month prior to that. That said, while the stock for the Oscars it's clearly very low right now, even the people winning the awards keep losing them, I'm going to take a page out of my co-host from the Intercut podcast, Zach's tweet, and give my thoughts on the Oscars while highlighting a couple more films and filmmakers I hope you have on your radar. Let me explain. So starting off with Best Picture, I personally think it's a really solid list. On the Intercut podcast, we talked about how the total number always varies because of the algorithm the Academy uses. So other than that one year where they really implemented it, it's kind of statistically impossible to get 10 nominees, and that's why we keep seeing 9. But even more statistically impossible is thinking all your favorites were going to be up there. I don't get why people are always upset that there's like 3 movies they don't like, considering out of the 10, I expect a good 50 or 60 may go your way, but 3 probably aren't going to be your favorites. That said, I don't get why these 3 are there. The Joker obviously needs to be highlighted since it got the most nominations at 11, and man, what a ride it's been. Just watching all the chaos that this movie has caused. I got an early screening to Joker back in 1982, so I've already seen the better version of this movie, but nonetheless, I think it still has built a huge fan base, one that does tend to act like the Joker when someone doesn't like the movie, which sadly you'd think that the Joker memes would be a little bit better, so I'm a little sad in there. But on the flip side, it's also been just as crazy seeing all the people who hate this movie and talk about it more than the people who love it. Hell, all the people who were telling you couldn't go see the movie because of something that was gonna never happen. And now we're at the end of the year and this movie's got 11 nominations. So other LME nominees that I would have put in this category that I think would have fit the definition of Best Picture would have been Lulu Wang's heartfelt The Farewell, the version of the current war that wasn't massacred by Weinstein and clearly was going to be set up for award season, the audience beloved thriller Knives Out, the forgiving A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and the Sandman coming for you in your dreams. That said, I do think these 2 are very representative of what the Academy is always looking for, even though the best is right in front of their eyes. Speaking of, I think the foreign language category, which was recently renamed Best International Feature for reasons we'll find out in a couple of years when certain movies get nominated, was actually stacked. I've talked about all 5, with Parasite being at the top for me for sure. I was super happy to see Corpus Christi get nominated because it's this movie I was able to catch at TIFF about a criminal wanting to be a priest, but they won't let him, so he does it anyway. I highly recommend it. Shout out to Honeyland for getting the doc in foreign. I thought it was about to get cinematography as well, but the A24 boys came in with their black and white film, and well, we all know the Academy tends to vote one of those in, but some of the other LME for international films that would perfectly fit this list is The Danish Queen of Hearts, an erotic drama following a manipulative therapist, Lebanon's 1982, which splits the perspective of the Lebanon War between the teachers trying to find the courage to protect their students from the war, and then the students trying to find the courage to ask their other classmates out because they don't know what's going on. Russia's Beanpole, which I recommend watching the masterfully cut Cons trailer if you want to go in hyped and knowing nothing. The American trailer if you want to know half the movie. Baccarat from Brazil and France, which wasn't even eligible for an Oscar because supposedly only one good movie can represent a country. And France's Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a masterpiece. In terms of directing, I do think there was plenty of great female directors this year who could have easily made one of the top 5 spots, but I don't think that takes away from the impeccable work, the brilliant work that each of these men did directing this year. While Todd rewatched Taxi Driver, I love how the movies that Greta and Noah directed got nominated for everything except their directing, but they can sleep soundly knowing they've made the LME list. and that both of them as partners are probably going to have Oscars at their dinner table soon. I would also highlight Lulu Wang, who did an exceptional job directing between 2, sometimes even 3 languages to make a film that was considered both an American and foreign film, so the Academy didn't know what to do with it. Alma Harao is the reason Shia's autobiography translates so well into film. Celine Sciamma directed some of the best dialogue of the year that's already made the Criterion Collection. We made an entire video on Marielle Heller's pitch-perfect direction in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and I'm really glad that Rian Johnson made a comeback from his $1 million Star Wars movie to get an Oscar nomination for writing, but I do think he deserves a lot of recognition for his direction in Knives Out as well, considering the masterful blocking he did with his all-star cast. In terms of writing, stacked as well. I'm torn between Marriage Story and Parasite for original. Personally, I want to say Marriage Story, but I really do like Parasite. I love The Irishman, but y'all gotta read how Greta overlapped her Little Women script. So what I really want to mention is that I have a link in the description. You could even Google it. All of these scripts are available to download for free. Each one adds so much to the movie, and if you've never read a movie script before, I highly recommend it, especially with some of the best of the year that are available for you. But a lot of these scripts also have a bunch of extra scenes. I would also add to the nominees Loose, which was one of my favorite scripts of the year, Midsommar, and The Farewell, which has one of the most heartbreaking segments that ended up as a deleted scene. Moving on to the acting side of things, we have all the supporting ones, like Pitt, who I'm pretty sure is going to take it, even though he said he wasn't doing any promo. Dern, I think, has been a shoo-in since the entire run, but it was kind of sad to not see Willem Dafoe on there, Song Kang-ho, or Florence. Look, I'm biased when it comes to Florence. It's kind of like when a ref makes a bad call, but it's in your favor. I love seeing Florence Pugh nominated. I don't know about it being for the movie where they just put bangs on her head and call her a 13-year-old. A lot of people would say J-Lo was snubbed for Hustlers, while the character she plays is still hustling. But when we look at the leads, I'm going Driver and Scarlett all the way. Look, they're my favorites. I don't care what non-working actors flexing their credentials on Twitter tell you. I wouldn't even say that it should get nominated for the big scenes that keep getting memed. It should be nominated for the tiny ones that can also be memed. Other LME nominees would include Eddie Murphy, Taron Egerton, Andre Holland, Luce himself. Elizabeth Moss would have gotten nominated if she had followed the Joker route. Annette Bening and Hope Cap. But there's one specific performance that cut deep.
How do you feel? I love Mama.
I love how the best supporting speeches for the people not even nominated are going to be better than the speeches we're going to hear that night. In 2019, Soderbergh's still shooting his movies on an iPhone, but Quentin and Robert are still shooting on film. 1917, which I love, I think it's going to end up on the top of most people's list for doing the most. The Irishman, besides some kicks, did an incredible job spanning eras thanks to Rodrigo and the 3-headed cameras this man had. Joker looked as filthy as it was. And we already talked about the Oscars and black and white films, but Yaron Blaschke deserved it for The Lighthouse, and even The Witch if we're talking about it. I would also highlight Monos, Last Black Man in San Francisco, and the documentary duo of Honeyland and Midnight Family, which don't just look great, but were actually shot on the fly. Moving on to the visual effects, I'd like to highlight Ad Astra and their commercial Flights to Subway on the Moon, John Wick for breathing, Godzilla if you had the right screen, and a couple of smaller movies that did go above and beyond in that department, in my opinion. Literally anything but Cats. Sound mixing, I think, sadly gets the least attention. Sound mixing, editing in the departments, because, at least the costume designers are gonna see their stuff cosplayed during Halloween. Sound designers usually don't get anything. I do think that 1917 excelled in both beyond any other film in 2019, and I highly recommend this upcoming year spoiling yourself and catching a movie at a Dolby Atmos theater if you've never gone to one. I highly recommend it. It is the best sound that you can possibly feel, and you're gonna feel it in your butt. In terms of the best stunts choreography category, the Oscars forgot to recognize them this year, but here at LME we got John Wick 3, Climax, 1917, and I'm sure Joaquin would have kicked his way in there if there was one. Best editing, I have to go for The Irishman. It's gotta be The Irishman. I've seen this movie 6 times, and Thelma cut it so it just flies by. But I will say that Marriage Story not getting nominated is insane to me, considering how intricately cut that movie was. They even had the editor on set throughout the entire shoot. Carson Runquist did not make his one good video of last year for you guys. I Lost My Body, I think, is one of the best movies of the year, so it was great to see it nominated, and I hope it wins for animation. But it was also cool to see Claws, which did some incredible stuff with 2D. The Missing Link people are probably still surprised by the Globes. And it would be cool to see How to Train Your Dragon pull a Return of the King. I know that it lost to Toy Story the first time, and now Toy Story is back, but it being the last one that it could win it for, I think would be cool. But yeah, Toy Story 4 as well is there. And I know that a lot of people have been talking smack about it. I know a lot of people were skeptical about the fourth and may have not liked the story. But in terms of animation, I mean, you're lying to yourself if you don't think this pushed the boundaries with all the textures and lights that it did. Some of our other picks, though, would be Abominable, Primal from the creator of Samurai Jack and Dexter's Lab, and Weathering with You. Personally, I feel like a Lego movie is never going to get nominated, and I just wanted to mention that. But it's better than ending up into the unknown like Frozen. Which did get song though. But honestly, that's just Elton's to lose. This year had a lot of artists trying to expand on their EGOTs by writing songs for feline movies, but both got shut out. That said, the song from Wild Rose, I feel should have gotten something, and maybe even Tom York's track from Motherless Brooklyn, which I thought was the only good thing from that movie. That said, score-wise, I do want Hildur to take it because she had a killer year last year, but I also really liked Michael Levy's score for Monos and Emil's The Last Black Man in San Francisco score, which, again, wasn't eligible, but those are the two that I want to highlight because they are crazy good. But not as crazy as John Williams getting 52 nominations. Breaking down the art departments, we have the production design in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I feel is going to be the winner because, look, just do yourself a favor and check any of the behind the scenes to see how they turned all of Hollywood Boulevard back into the 60s down to the window panes. But 1917 had miles and miles of trenches, all specifically measured to the actor's pace who would be running the scene. I still gotta go Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If I could add any, I would say Knives Out and all of its mysteries that are left in plain sight throughout the house, the attention to detail in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with its sets, and the 100-page Bible Ari Aster made for the production of Midsommar. In terms of best makeup and hairstyling, this has been a category that's usually been getting like 3 nominations, but they amped it up to 5 this year, and while I think Bombshell's the best one, I think Rocket Man and Once Upon a Time should have been in the category as well. In terms of costumes, Celine did her own for Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I think that should have gotten some recognition. Rocket Man nailed it with Elton's costumes throughout the decades. But look, if we're going to talk about one snub, the one real big snub that I think did happen, it would have been Ruthie Carter for Dolomite. Because poor Eddie had to put up with those shoes.
Yeah, but she went and got them vintage shoes for real from the 70s. And them shoes was fucked up. I know I was in some pain. The whole movie, I was in pain.
I just wanted to mention a couple of the shorts here and even link Zach's Twitter thread that has a bunch of the shorts listed for you to watch online for free. Because sadly, a lot of these get lost and never seem to be seen again. And I really hope streaming finds a way to help these shorts get more attention. In terms of the short docs, I'm really looking into In the Absence winning because this covers the story of a South Korean ferry that sunk, killing 300 people, most of them children, and how the people responsible didn't even pull up the ferry until 3 years later. On the animated side of things, it's a little bit lighter. There's Kipple, which is on Disney Plus, and I really like it. I thought it was cute, but I really loved Hair Love, which you could also watch online. Others I'd like to mention are the TIFF Selects Flesh and Why Slugs Don't Have Legs. And in terms of live action, I had a couple. There was a bunch of the festival ones that we've been mentioning throughout the year, like Run, which I know is now available online. I'll End Up in Jail has a crazy ending. Anima, which is on Netflix, Little Gray Bubbles, Debris, oh man, Debris, Exam, and even Yorgos Lanthimos had a short film out this year that definitely feels like Yorgos Lanthimos. To wrap up the final category, I'm really looking at American Factory. Produced by the Obamas, it's on Netflix to be the big winner because I don't even know how they got this much access to cover this auto glass plants in Ohio that's merging with a Chinese company because the GM plant went bankrupt and now they got thousands of people. It is this crazy culture clash that got captured on film. Some of the other ones that I would like to highlight is on Amazon, we have One Child Nation, uncovering the history to China's one-child policy. And this movie wastes no time asking the real questions. Maiden was another one I really liked that follows the first ever female crew who raced around the world. And I know at one point the Oscars wanted the most popular category. And in terms of docs, I would give that to none other than the Firefest duo, which definitely will be remembered, because some scenes were hard to swallow. Overall, I've gone on record in stating that 2019 was an incredible year for film, one of the best of the decade in my opinion. So regardless of if you agree with all of the nominees or not, hopefully the Oscars shine a light on a movie or two that you may not have known, but hopefully won't soon forget. If not, I blame y'all for inducting Tom Holland. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Again, I'm a man of my word. I had mentioned it in the Beautiful Day video. I was really looking forward to some more nominations. I would have even done some cancel out if we would have gotten like a Greta Gerwig and a Lulu Wang in there, but look, I mean, they flag my videos all the time, so when I said I wasn't going to cover the Oscars, still wanted to cover the nominations, but in terms of the ceremony, I wouldn't even be in town technically, but yeah, usually they flag all the stuff that I do anyways. If you want to see my thoughts on the Oscars, here's the video from last year, pretty much going to be saying the same things, but it is going to be interesting to see what AMC does, considering the fact that AMC Theaters last year didn't play Roma because it was a Netflix movie. So this year, when they do the showcase and they start playing all the Best Picture winners, I'm curious what they're gonna do, considering there's more Netflix movies this year. But I don't know, we'll see. One last prediction I'll make here is that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood didn't get Best Editing. I know Best Picture is up, it can go anywhere, it can go to Jojo Rabbit, to be honest with you, considering that, you know, Green Book won TIFF last year, and that's, you know, Jojo won it this year. But hey, if Parasite wins, man, that would be insane. Other than that, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We get justice for Ma.